It only stops when someone walks this direction to solve the problem. Ed had recommended and suggested that he just stay in the closet the entire service. He said, I could just sit in there. I said, no, I don't think so.
I heard that.
Not you, Ed. Well, hopefully it will be at peace for a little bit longer for us today. Stay in the river of gratitude. That's a nice concept, although perhaps difficult to maintain. We remind ourselves during times like Thanksgiving that we should cultivate an attitude of gratitude. Some of us expand this practice to last the entire month as we attempt to find something that we're grateful for every day of the month. And then December comes and our attention shifts to gift giving, candy canes. Gratitude takes a back seat until next year. How then do we hold on to this concept of gratitude that passes us by so fleetingly once a year? Many people of faith have sacred texts that encourage gratitude practices, which devout followers integrate into their daily routines. Jewish people recite blessings related to various life experiences, and like Christians, they express thanks for food and sustenance, and actively engage in acts of kindness and charity to show their appreciation. Buddhists also express thanks before meals and regularly reflect on the particular life conditions that allow them to live and thrive. Muslims practice supplications 5 times a day, in which they stop all activity to pray and thank Allah. Hindus have a particularly impressive daily gratitude practice, in which they practice the 5 great sacrifices daily, known as the Pancha Mahayajnas, and they define their gratitude in these 5 categories. Brahma Yajna is honoring knowledge and sages through study and teaching. Pitri Yajna is gratitude to ancestors through offerings and remembering them. Deva Yajna is thankfulness to deities through worship and rituals. Bhuta Yajna is respect for all living beings and the environment through protecting and preserving them. And Manuyasha Yajna is gratitude to society and fellow humans through acts of service. Some of that sounds very familiar to us UUs, as it resonates with several of our own principles. But we don't often think of living our principles as living out acts of gratitude. Is being a person, being a good person, an act of gratitude? If it seems like a stretch to conflate these two, there are also some practices that might encourage feelings of gratitude and keep us in the river on a daily basis. Don't worry, I'm not going to suggest keeping a gratitude journal. Not everyone likes to journal. These ideas that I have are suggestions that hopefully you can keep present throughout your daily activities and can help support an overall shift of mindset toward gratitude. Number 1, notice and compare. Gratitude is rooted in comparison, and so it's relative. Right now, I could be upset that there's a noisy alarm going off, but instead I'm going to be grateful that we have a building in which to hold our gathering. And I'm very grateful for Mike going in there to turn it off. So gratitude is rooted in comparison. We spend a significant amount of time comparing ourselves to those we see on TV, in the movies, social media, even comparing ourselves to our neighbors. It leads us to wishing that we had what others have. I wish I had that car. Why can't I make enough money to buy a house so I can stop renting? I wish I was as beautiful as that actress. Now, we know that comparison is the thief of joy, but it also has the potential to be the root of gratitude if you compare yourself or your situation to someone less fortunate. Noticing a car broken down on the side of the road can instill thoughts of gratitude that your car is reliable, even if the window doesn't roll down correctly on the passenger side. Noticing your coworker arriving late because the bus didn't run on time can help you feel grateful that you have a car at all, regardless of how reliable it is. Noticing the homeless person on the street corner asking for handouts can help you feel grateful for the carload of groceries that you are toting home at the same time. So, what are you noticing? Do you tend to pay attention to people who have more than you do, or people who have less? People whose lives are easier than yours, or those whose lives are harder? Which kind of comparison helps you feel grateful? And what actions does that feeling of gratitude lead you to? How does gratitude at all change your actions? Notice and compare. Number 2 is process over product. This is a Montessori concept that I learned well in my early childhood education. It encourages a mindset that values the process and the journey of growth and learning over the product and destination at the end of that journey. The process and what you learn from it is always valuable. The product, it's sometimes valuable. Rarely, unless you have the process before it. While in our river of gratitude, our instinct is to look toward where we are headed, the ultimate destination. If our river's destination is the ocean, then we can't possibly be satisfied until we get to the ocean. Can we? Even if that's the destination of the river, what if your own personal destination isn't the ocean at all, but the river? Monarch butterflies go through 3 to 5 generations before completing their migration pattern. Many of them spend their entire lives aloft in a river of butterflies, never to experience the destination to which they are headed. If monarchs experience gratitude, I imagine they're grateful for the meadows that they pass along the way, rich with milkweed, sunflowers, and zinnias for them to feed. And isn't that enough? Poet Bo Taplin says, "I'm beginning to recognize that real happiness isn't something large and looming on the horizon ahead, but something small, numerous, and already here. A decent breakfast, a warm sunset, the smile of someone you love, your little everyday joys all lined up in a row." So journey over destination and process over product. Number 3, realize that you actually have enough. Many of us are collectors, and I don't just mean collecting things like vintage cars or Beanie Babies. I mean, we have an instinct to gather and hoard in order to survive times when we will inevitably be without. In the past, this served us well, as there was a time to harvest and a time to live off of what had been dried, canned, frozen, or saved. When people lived off the land, there was a natural ebb and flow of food and resources, which encouraged natural gratitude when those things were in abundance, because people knew what it was like to not have it. People knew near starvation at the end of a long winter, when all that was left were the soft, moldy potatoes and the last remnants of wheat. Now, our modern amenities have gifted us an eternal harvest in which we have no winter, no time of lacking, and yet our instincts tell us to continue to accumulate as though we never have enough. And so we continue to gather, to collect, awaiting the long winter that never comes, and we live in a perpetual state of, I don't have enough. However, the exact opposite is often true in most of our circumstances. Not only do we have enough, we often have enough to stop collecting. The instincts that kept our ancestors alive over millennia continue to echo in us, fostering feelings of insufficiency. But we don't need these survival instincts anymore. Instead, we should notice that our environments are not at risk of depletion, and instead of living in a perpetual state of I need more, we should mentally shift into a state of I have enough. Just recognizing that we have enough means we swim in the river of gratitude. Noticing that we live in relative comfort without need is being thankful. Gratitude doesn't have to be an effusive exultation of joy. It can exist in simple contentment. Do you have enough? Is it sufficient? If so, then you are blessed. This month, I visited a Sacred Circle meeting, and one of our members used a phrase that I've held onto since hearing it: tangible gratitude. She meant the kind of gratitude that's within reach, accessible, easy, the way an orange tastes, when the person in front of you at Starbucks pays for your coffee, nearly missing a car accident, the warm sun on your skin in the middle of winter. The gratitude we feel in these instances is tangible. It's hard to miss. I've found in my research on this subject that most poets describe this kind of gratitude as sweet. These moments of tangible gratitude are effortless. They're life's simple pleasures. These are ordinary things for which we can access gratitude on a daily basis. They do not require extreme sacrifice, and they aren't considered extraordinary. They just happen. These little gifts from the universe that weave into our lives and keep us floating in the gratitude river, where the water itself is tangible, sweet, and effortlessly flowing. We don't have to thirst for the extraordinary when we're in a river of abundantly ordinary from which we can consistently drink. This is the river that Dr. Jaya John speaks of in her poem that Leora read today. This is the kind of gratitude that brings peace. Notice and compare. Value process over product. Ask yourself, do you have enough? These three simple practices can help us stay in the river of gratitude, where our hearts and souls can grow supple. And while you float down that river, tell me, what do you notice? Do you notice when the sun warms your skin in the middle of winter? Do you notice when you have clean water to drink? Do you notice when someone cares for you? Our world overflows with abundantly ordinary blessings, just waiting to be noticed. And when they are, life truly is sweet. May we all notice, often, and hold our blessings, our ordinary, everyday, run-of-the-mill blessings with gratitude. Amen.